Okay, so the recording is started, and right now let me give the floor to the ARISE project coordinator, Mireia de Diego. Mireia is based in Cardiff, and she will introduce the main assumptions of the ARISE project. Mireia, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Marta. Morning, everyone. I'm Mireia de Diego, the overall coordinator of ARISE. In this first expression of interest webinar, I would like to introduce you to our project. Next. ARISE is an ambitious initiative, the way we approach collaborative human-robot application in Europe. The key words of ARISE is robotics, middleware, HRI, human-centric aspects, and AI futures. We want to develop a new open middleware that helps European companies to generate robotic applications in an agile and robust way, respecting ethical and security standards to contribute to competitiveness of European companies. Next. We promote the use of the open source technologies that enable flexible and adaptable integration into human-robot interaction solutions, focusing on developing technologies that prioritize user safety, efficiency, and comfort, ensuring that HRI solutions are beneficial to people. Our goal is to drive advanced solutions for HRI, making these technologies accessible, efficient, and centered on human needs. Next. We focus on the objective of achieving agile and effective middleware integration, combining these technologies such as ROS2, Fiber, and ROS for HRI to create a robust middleware that improves communication and integration and industrial scenarios. Incorporating advanced AI models to improve the capabilities and efficiency of HRI solutions, integrating insights from social science and humanities to ensure that our solutions are user-centric and socially aware, prioritizing ethical considerations and safety to ensure responsible innovation. Next. We are supporting 26 experiments focused on human-robot collaboration application with a budget of over 5 million euros. These efforts are part of our financial support to third parties designed to drive forward advancement in HRI technologies. This initiative aims to develop a robust ecosystem that fosters innovation and collaboration in the field of human-robot interaction. Next. Our primary goal is to develop a cutting-edge open-source middleware that empowers European companies. The open-source technologies involved are Fiber, ROS2-based, such as VulcanNexus, and also ROS for HRI. Additionally, I support AI futures for HRI. Next. The pilots or demonstrator all steps are the central point to the ARISE project. This year, implementation to incorporate ARISE middleware in the testing and experimentation facilities. Ethics and SSH framework analysis by including interviews and on-site visits from the experts. Outcomes for open call challenges and expired samples will guide for these processes. Knowledge sharing insight gaining in this first year, 2024, will support and mentor participants and applicants in the incoming open call. Next. The partners involved in the ARISE middleware are Fiber, Proxima with VulcanNexus tools, and engineering and PAL robotics. Additionally, Algebraic focusing on AI futures for HRI. Next. The leader of the testing and experimentation facilities is Cardiff. To the ethic and SSH framework, Demos Helsinki. To the open calls management is Funding Boss, and support and mentoring is Intellimex. Next. The partners involved as the TEF owners, these pilots, is Cartif, Intelimed, and PAL Robotica and Politecnico de Milan. Next. In this flow diagram, then you can see the ARISE phases. The first year, 2024, focusing the pilot's implementation plan. The outcome of this first year will set the challenges for upcoming open calls. The next step is the open call launch, initiating the process for funded experiment, and guidance from ARISE partner for all participants with a support and mentoring phase. Finally, the expected result will be development and deployment of advanced HRI modules. In the meantime, we are working in the creation of the ARISE ecosystem. Okay. Our ARISE aims to impact by participating in over 20 PSTPs funded projects. The key objectives include to strengthen the AI, data, and robotic innovation ecosystem, collaborating with technologies like ROS2, Fiverr, and ROS for HRI. European Innovation Action as network of digital innovation hubs. ARISE middleware provides impact in industrial sector, including manufacturing, healthcare, and services in general, by elevating the capabilities and efficiency. Increasing productivity and reduce cost, ARISE promote innovation, standardization, new business model, services, and job opportunities. The open source module will have a lasting impact elevating worker safety and system efficiency. New market promising opportunities for companies, startups, and SMEs embracing the innovation developed by the ARISE project. Next. Thank you for attending this webinar. Let us know your interest in our project along this expression of interest phase. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mireia. And right now we can go to the expression of interest requirements that will be introduced to you by the senior project manager from Funding Box, Antonio Montalvo.
Thank you, Marta, and good morning, everyone. So the idea of today is to make you understand what we are pretending to have and to get out of this expression of interest, what it means, and how you can apply and things like that. So if you can go to the next step. Yeah. So the first thing is to understand what we call an expression of interest. And by the way, it is important to note that this expression of interest was launched openly through our microsite yesterday, and it will be launched and open until the 30th of August 2024, so you have time to apply. We can go to the next step. It is very important to note that this expression of interest is in reality the first step of the open call that we intend to launch in October. And why are we launching as a preliminary step this expression of interest? The reason is that we want to get a pool of end users and a pool of technology providers, which are actually the ones that are going to apply together to the open call. And thanks to this pool, we will be able to validate these end users and technology providers that are compliant to a certain number of requirements that we're going to show later. And these validated end users and technology providers together will be able to apply to this open call for what we call for full proposal, because in the end, it will be a consortia applying to this open call. So in this first step, the expression of interest step, there is no money involved. It's just a kind of validation And we call it validation, not pre-selection, because in reality is, as I said, the idea is to get this list of pool of validated by us, end users and technology providers. And in the end, the result of this process is that those who are validated will be able to get some services from our side to make a good proposal and have more chances in the end to be selected in the open call process. So this will be done through a matchmaking process that will be done during the open call. So again, this slide is very clear. You will apply individually as an end user or as a technology provider. If you consider that your company can be both, can be end user and technology provider, or technology provider, you are not meant to apply, because in the end, you will be able to apply directly to the open call. Okay, it's a preliminary step just to make it easier for people who don't have the means to get in touch with, if you are an end user, to technology provider or vice versa, to first to know that you comply with the role that you claim to be, and second, that you can be easily matchmade with another partner to go together to this open goal. If we go to the next slide, please. So this is the timeline. So we are now in the phase of this expression of interest. It was launched, as I said, yesterday until the 30th of August. Then during the month of September, we are going to do the validation of these end users and of these technology providers. Plus, we are going to do, of course, the preparation of the documents, administrative things to launch the open call. And from October until December, this open call for joint proposals, I mean, proposals coming from consortia that will gather end users and tech providers. This will be done from October to December, 3 months. And at the same time, there will be a matchmaking process in place. And then after that, in January, we will do a certain number of administrative things. We will do our evaluation and of the proposals, and then those consortia that are selected, up to 13, I mean, there are 26 proposals to be selected overall in the 2 open calls that we are open. More or less 13, I would say, will be selected after this process. And then those who are selected will start the program, the support program, in February. By the end of, by the 1st of March, actually, because you will need to sign, etc. But right now we are in the phase that you apply individually, so you don't care about, so right now, about the open call for the proposals. You stick on the application, an individual application, if you consider that you can be an end user or a technology provider. And then after that, if you are validated, you will have access to these services that we will provide to do a matchmaking. By the way, this is, as I say, a preliminary step, but the open call to be launched in October will be open to anyone. That means that even if you are not validated at this stage, you will be able to apply, but not individually. You will be able to apply if you manage to get in contact with a technology provider or an end user, and form a consortium that can make a successful proposal. So by any means, this is an eliminatory phase. You will be able, the only thing, as I said before, is that you will get more chances to get selected. Next slide. So what we understand, what are we understanding by end users and technology providers? Okay, because there are companies that can be both at the same time, but in this phase, we are just asking for you to determine if you can play the role of an end user or a technology provider. Because if you can play both roles, as I said, you can go directly to the open call phase in October. You don't need to go through this validation. So an end user, the first thing that needs to be clear is that any entity of any type can be an end user. You can be an SME, you can be a startup, a mid-cap, corporate, a university, an RTO, any nonprofit entity. Any entity at this stage is eligible to become an end user. Now, you need to be legally registered before the start date of the expression of interest. So if you apply, you need already to be registered. This is something that we want to insist, because there are people who are say, okay, I am an individual person, I plan to open register a startup, and I'm not registered now, I will be in the, no. So right now you need to be registered to be eligible for this expression of it. If you are not, but you plan to be registered before October, you can go directly to the open call when it is going to be launched in October, together with a technology provider. Okay, so this doesn't mean that you will not be able to apply to the first open call. It's just that right now you cannot be validated as an end user if you are not registered. Now, what we understand by end user, you need to have or to own an industrial facility. That's something that it's because we need to do a certain number of things. You need to have a facility, and you need to also have an industrial process already in place. You can, so we are trying to get companies that are already working, that are already in place, that are already producing, and that they will need a technology provider to make a certain number of an experiment of a certain number of things, and address a certain number of challenges that will be explained later that are dealing with the ARISE project. And the second thing that is very important is that ARISE is about human-centric solution. So since we are focused on that, there will be polarity robotics application. So basically, we are addressing manual workers, or a solution that is addressing, that is, so to speak, providing a good solution for the manual workers and therefore the shop floor managers. It's not, this project is not about just robots and robotics applications and finding the best technology to make robots become more performant. It's about human-centric. It's about the collaboration between robots and humans, and make the workers, the managers, the people, the human beings that are involved in the process, making their lives easier. Please go further. Next slide, please. And for a technology provider, you remember that for the end user, anyone, any entity of any type can apply. For the technology provider, this is not true. Only SMEs, startups, and mid-caps that are legally registered can be eligible as a technology provider. When the open call comes in October, you will realize that in the end, the core of the project, the core of the experiment has to be an SME. SME, as I say, including startups and mid-caps. This is a kind of package. It has to be a company. Non-profit entities would be able to be end users, but not technology providers. Basically, that's the, and corporates, they can be end user, but not technology providers. And for the technology providers, actually, they would have two different roles in the end. One is the design of a solution, but also the development and the implementation. So in the end, there are three sub tasks that you need to comply to for you to understand if you are a technology provider in this project or not. So designing, developing, implementing relevant blocks and a fully functional solution. And yeah, this solution, my colleague Francisco will explain you later, has to run in a demonstrator that has to be at least TRL 6, TRL 6, TRL 7, okay? Then your origin, as in any call from the Commission, it have to be from a member state of the European Commission and its overseas countries, or an associated countries to Horizon Europe. In the guidelines of this open expression of interest call, you will have a link to the European Commission page, where you will have the list of associated countries. And you can move forward. Okay, so what do we offer in this phase, in this expression of interest phase? Of course, in the open call, if you are selected for funding, you will receive an amount of money to develop your experiment. Now, here, there is no money involved. As I say, the only idea is that you get validated. And if you are validated, you will get these services from us. From us, in order for you to make it possible that your proposal together with a partner, if you are an user with a technology provider, if you are a technology provider with an end user, your proposal in the open call can be, as I say, I would say more successful or have more chances that an outsider, people that come without having passed through this process. So, as I said before, will be included in a list of end users and technology providers. This list will be shown, will be published in the guide for applicants of the open call. So anyone that will, imagine that an outsider goes to apply or would like to apply to the open call, goes to the guide for applicants, then if he is an user, he will have a list of potential technology providers, etc., or even between yourselves. So this is something that you will have that. Of course, it might happen that even if you are in the list, you are not contacted. Imagine that you are an user, you are not contacted by anyone, or you contact a technology provider from the list and you don't get a feedback. You will receive assistance from us, identifying potential users and also contacting them, etc. So you are going to have this support, and also using a matchmaking tool that is available through Discord. We'll talk about that later. And then also, as an additional service, we can assist you in refining the full proposal. Once you have, we are not going to help you do the proposal, but we can give you some hints and tips on how to, to make your proposal be successful. We can refine it, etc. Because the idea is that your proposal, at least the proposal coming from validated end users and tech providers, we are 100% sure that they are in scope. They are in the scope of the ARISE open call and our requirements. Okay, then let's go to the next one. Then how to apply, there is a landing page here. Maybe we can go, Patricia, to the website. So this is the microsite we have created. It is not in the Arise website. It's a website created by Funding Box. You can have access to the website from the project as well. But here you have some important things to know. First, of course, the dates for you to know. Bear in mind that the deadline is on the 30th of August at 5 o'clock Brussels time. Until then, you can reshuffle and work on your proposal, or sorry, on your application, and then submit as many applications as you like. But we are going to keep the last one you have submitted. But if after 5 p.m. on the 30th, your application is still in draft mode, you haven't submitted it, then you will not be, retained as an applicant. So bear this in mind, because it might be something very stupid, but we have some problems with people saying, hey, that's the deadline, and after that we can do nothing. Now there's a button here, an apply now button, and this is just for you to apply. But in the upper tab, you have the guides and documents and the help desk. If you go to the guides and documents, please, you will see have access to two main documents, essential documents. One is the guidelines. So the guidelines is, of course, the kind of the Bible. You need to read it very carefully, because it explains everything, how it works, etc. So please download it and read it carefully. And then there is another document, which is industrial human robotic interaction challenges. And this document and what about the challenges is something that my colleague Francisco is going to explain to you. So these are the two main documents. And the challenges are there because you will have to apply to one challenge in the open call. The open call has to address one of the challenges. Now, in this phase, maybe you would be eventually able to address more than one challenge. So in the end, in this expression of interest phase, you can select as many challenges as you like. But if you make the match with a counter partner, in the end, the proposal will be about one challenge, only one. If we go to the help desk, well, the help desk is something, I wouldn't say more complicated, but you need to join the help desk first. And there is an explanation here on how you can join. You need to do a certain number of steps, and you will have access to the Discord help desk, and you will be able to make any question. When you make a question to the help desk, this will come to all of us, all the partners from Arise, and depending on the type of question, if it's an administrative question or a budgetary question or a technical question, this question will be readdressed to the right person from the project that will give you a response to it. And as I said here, there will be also a matchmaking tool, which is the one that my colleague Patricia, thank you, is showing. And there you will be able to ask, to make a question. I am a user, validated end user. I would like to get in contact with the technology provider that is from this challenge, or that has this profile, etc. And this is an additional service to the fact that you will have a list, as I said, in the guide for applicants with all the validated end users and technology providers. You can go back. You can go to the most important button, which is the apply now. You apply, you click there, you start a new application. Of course, you need to register to the system if you are not registered, but this is very easy. And you just need to include your an email and a username and a password. And then you will have access to this application form. Basically, you have 6 sections. One is the basic information, which is your basic data. And when you have a start, like it means that it is mandatory. You cannot move forward if you don't fulfill this information. Then the legal information, again, is about your company. What's the VAT number? What's the address, the legal address, blah, blah, blah. The most important section is number 3, which is the role that you are applying in this version of it. As I said, you can only select one of them. You can either be an end user or a technology provider. If you, I apologize if I sometimes repeat, but I would like to have to be you very clear about certain number of things. If you consider that you can play both roles, that's totally possible, but then you don't need to go to the expression of interest. You can go directly in October to the open call, okay? So if you are an end user or if you are a technology provider, then there is a certain number of things or questions that are very that are common. The type of organization. So there is 8 options: dismantling and assembling of high-value products, etc. You can click or you can check as many as you like, because of course you can be experts or you can be dealing with more than one option here. But after that, you will have a certain number of questions that you need to reply yes or no. If you possess the necessary infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. And very important is that once you have clicked on the yes or no, or in this case, an industrial process expert, you click that you are experts in this assembly of high-value products, etc. Then you will have to provide evidence on what you are saying is true. And this will be done, if you scroll down, please, through PDF. You need to create a document that you will export that to PDF. And then once it is exported, you have to upload this PDF here, okay? So this is valid for the end user information and also for the technology provider information. Of course, the questions are different. The type of organization is the same, but the questions are different depending if you pretend to be an end user or a technology provider. If you have any questions on or any doubts on this, please go to the help desk and ask us a question. If it's an administrative question, yeah, I don't know if I can click more than 1 or 2 or 3, this is going to be Funding Box reply. If it's a very technical question that I am an expert in this, but I'm not sure that then through this help desk, it will be our technical partners to reply. Then there are a certain number of sections, the statistical section, declaration of owner and processing of personal data that are typical in any of these processes, because we need to be sure that you comply or we comply with GDPR information. One important thing in this section is that you need to allow us to publish your information, your contact information in the guide for applicants. This is something that this is in the declaration of honor, I believe. There is a number of questions, but you need to allow us to do that. Otherwise, we can't follow your information. And then even if you are validated, nobody will be able to contact you, okay, directly through this. Okay, that's all from the application. If we go back to the presentation. Now, you have applied, okay? And then after the 30th of August, there will be a committee from ARISE, which is what we call the, well, this is just, yeah. There will be a committee that is composed of the technical partners from ARISE. Two of them are here today, Partif, represented by Mireia, and the Fire Foundation, represented by Francisco, but they are not the only ones. But the technical partners will meet and they will decide in a yes or no. It's not really an evaluation that they're going to do. We are not talking about that. They're going to validate your candidates. And the validation means only that you need to meet this criteria. So if you pretend to be an end user, there are 5 criteria that you need to meet, and you need to meet all of them. To a certain extent, you can be maybe, meeting in an excellent way or in not so excellent way. But the thing is that we can, or the technical partners can say, okay, they are addressing this, they are proposing that, they are showing their experience in this and that. So these are the I would say the 4 criteria. The 5th one is a kind of related to the previous 4. And this validation, you have them here, but of course they are in the guideline. In the guidelines, you will see all these criteria, so you don't need to take note of anything. And the same goes for the technology providers. The technology providers, they have to meet with 3 main criteria, and then the 3rd one is for. So how this validation committee is going to detect or to determine if you meet this criteria? It will be, of course, through the information you have provided in the application form. As I said, you will check a certain number of questions in the application form, but you will have to provide a document explaining what is your experience in that field, so elements and proofs of evidence that allow the validation committee to say, okay, yes, they are replying. To what extent the proposed collaborative robotics application is central element to the end-to-end industrial solution, they will be able to say, yes, they meet this criterion, depending on what you have provided us in the PDF. Okay, I think that's all. Yeah, we can go and move to the HR challenges. If you have any questions, I see some of them in the chat, but yeah, we will answer them after.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Just as Antonio said, thank you for all the questions. Please send them. We will answer all of them during the last part of this session, during Q&A. And right now, I would like to give a floor to Francisco Melendez, who is the technical coordinator of ARISE. Francisco, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Marta. Okay, let's jump into the challenges. Well, what I am going to do, you have all this information in the document that Antonio showed in the microsite, but I will just give you a first flavor on what are the challenges meant to gather from you. We have created these challenges in a way that they want to be inclusive to your problems, but at least they are given some direction. So if we see the challenge 1 and challenge 2, they focus on a joint task execution. In particular, challenge 1 is focused on the assembly and disassembly of high-value products with these advanced designs, which could allow a collaboration between the human and the robotic platform. And the second one focuses on processes where there is complex product picking, because it is difficult to reach out to the products in their natural flow, or because they are soft products or difficult to handle products. And this, to us, is kind of a cluster of experiments that could target challenge 1 and challenge 2. Regarding challenge 3 and 4, we are addressing the concept of agile production, agile work environments. In the first challenge, number 3, we are targeting robotics platforms, collaborative robotics platforms, and applications in which we are making the most out of the robot to implement different actions or skills and services in an agile workstation, being able to easily be reconfigured to do process A and then participate in process B. And then in challenge 4, the focus is more on the user. And what we are doing is kind of creating low code, no code skills that the domain expert, the shop floor worker, is able to handle and even to configure with some kind of elasticity or flexibility. This is the challenge 4. So challenge 3 is the flexibility of the station. Challenge 4 is the ability to allow domain workers to reprogram the station. I think we could go to the next slide. Yes. Let's go with the third cluster of challenges, challenge 5 and 6. In here, we are focused a bit more on tasks which require mobile robotics skills. And in particular, we are stating here, we are targeting assisted living contexts, because we are, in these cases, a bit far from the concept of blue-collar worker or shop floor manager. In here, we have our primary or secondary users being the professionals, and secondary users, those that are receiving the service. So this is a different environment. I take the opportunity also to tell you, when you read the guidelines and the future guide for applicants, this is what we mean with service sectors. It is not only healthcare, but sectors like retail, hospitality. In there, we could reproduce similar context to the assisted living context in which we have robots navigating. So if you are working in that domain, you could perfectly fit inside challenge 5 or 6, and just elaborate a bit on what the specificity of your context is. So first one, collaboration with the in assisted living context. Second one, just focus on a more narrow thing, which is fetch and carry tasks in healthcare environments or this kind of service sector environments. Yes, and well, it's I'm highlighting here that the robustness of the interaction flows is the key point for the challenge number 6. And then final cluster is challenge 7 and challenge 8. And in here, we are trying to bring collaborative robotics applications which are almost transparent to the users. I mean, they are helping them just because they are solving a relevant part of the joint task space, so that the worker can just focus on on what he or she is doing, or because the station is able to reconfigure itself so that the ergonomics and comfort and safety for the human in a high precision task is achieved. So more or less, this is the overview of the challenges. And again, I want to stress, we want to be inclusive to your problem. And the reason why Antonio highlighted that we want final applications to focus on one challenge is because we want to go really as far as possible in a problem. And if we receive an experiment that is focusing on 3 or 4 challenges at the same time, I assume that we will not pay enough attention to a problem so that we end up having the maturity we want to achieve. We can go to the next slide, please. Yes, I have captured in here the literal text from the guidelines, just to give you some hints on the end user profile and the technology profile. Yes, we have in here operate an industrial facility setting. This I have fine-tuned a bit the wording because for sure it will come the question. I am a university, I am an RTO, can I be an end user? Well, with this thing that I am operating an industrial facility setting, what is telling us if you are admissible or not is the TRL of the demonstrator you can contribute. If I am a university and I am running a demonstrator, an industrial facility setting for a company, and then I can demonstrate that my setting in the university is TRL 6 or 7, being 6 a relevant industry setting, which is something that, let's say, the company that is collaborating with the university accepts as a valid setup, that would be okay. But bear in mind that what will receive the top grade in the evaluations, which will be the TRL 7, which is that the end user, even if it is a university, commits to deploy the solution in an operational environment. It is a prototype in an operational environment. So if you as a university have the commitment of the company you are collaborating with to deploy the final demonstrator in there, you will receive higher scores than if you are only presenting your demonstrator in a relevant but not industrial environment. Then second point is that you look for improved performance in one particular process that is affecting your business. Experiments must be end user driven. The business case is the relevant thing and the relevant trigger for taking action in the process. And then the third key message, the point is augmenting the human. The point is getting to that efficient situation, just considering an improved role of the human instead of replacing it. And this shall be present. Otherwise, we are deviating from what the Commission wants from the RISE project, from what we committed to deliver. It's necessary that the context is on the human centricity aspects of the solution. Okay? Next one, please. Yes, the technology provider organization. In here, what we want to stress is that we need an end-to-end solution to the business process of the end user, and we need also this expertise to deploy the collaborative robotics applications, because approaches that are not considering a collaborative robotics applications are out of scope to the program. So both things, we are targeting end-to-end industrial solutions, but the approach is through the use of collaborative robotics applications. To this, what is relevant from the technology provider? That they are able to offer a portfolio of innovative or cutting-edge technologies that are kind of the seed for the experiment. If there is something that in 12 months is going to be started from scratch, it's almost impossible that we have the demonstrators, the collaborative robotics applications being showcased in a proper relevant environment. It's relevant that technology providers feel comfortable showing their muscle because of the technology they already have in their portfolio. Again, they will need to demonstrate that they have the capabilities to develop and deploy a TRL 7 application. And final thing is that they can demonstrate expertise in implementing and maintaining collaboration or offering long-term support on their solutions, because we want to engage with companies that in the end are targeting some kind of go-to-market strategy, and they want to make business around the solution they are offering. Let's jump into the next one. We are running out of time. I will go very fast. Well, in this slide, what I am trying to summarize is key requirements from the program. So we have prioritized sectors and challenges. We have this manufacturing, healthcare, and service sectors. I already clarified what are the service sectors. We have the list of challenges expressed in the document in the microsite, and then these problems which requires humans and robots to collaborate in a shared workspace. Regarding the technology, Arise is giving you tools, so Robot Operating System, ROS2, and one particular distribution, VulcanNexus, are core middleware to the solution, to the collaborative robotics application, and this will be a requirement to align the solution exporting interfaces to ROS2. ROS for HRI is a set of standards for the coding of human-robot interaction informations using ROS2. And then FireWire will be for you the technology, the open source technology, which aims to implement the shop floor server with some utilities that you could have in there, time series data, persistence, Grafana dashboards, complex event processors. So this will be a stack that will run on top of the solution you're creating. Then regarding the AI-powered models, we are considering LLMs as, let's say, the sexy technology to our program. And, well, you could claim that relevant open source tools and standards for collaborative robotics applications are very specific to your problems and just quite relevant and accelerators. And then to us, that would be really interesting if we can embrace and leverage those technologies and develop the necessary interfaces so that they become seamlessly integrable with ROS2 middleware. And then finally, your legacy or proprietary texts and tools which already export or seamlessly integrate with open standard interface that we then can claim it's pluggable into ROS2. This is more or less the summary. And finally, what is this part of the social sciences and humanities and human centricity topics? Well, this is that the Arise program will co-create with you, will participate and engage with you in giving answer to this type of questions. What data am I gathering and why? Because it cannot be that we are gathering everything. We are just making use of all the sensitive data. And it is just because we are not addressing the question why I am using it or what is the purpose. And more or less, we could reproduce this for each of the question, use of sensitive data. How am I taking care of the worker safety, cybersecurity issues, every single concern that could rise around the use of AI? This will be somehow co-created between the program and your design. But please, in application, just give it the angle that you are already caring about it and that you commit to align with this approach. And then final slide. I am just capturing here. We are missing the demos. It's not seen right in the font, the demonstrators. You will be requested to deliver proof of concept, a minimum viable platform, and then the final demonstrator, TRL 6 and 7, a module with a robot skill, and this part in line with the social sciences and humanities, with this exploitation roadmap I was referring to before. And regarding the robotic skill we want to do, we are aligning with the Digital Industrial Platform from Robotics from the EU, and we are centering our target on robot skills in this framework. So higher level of abstraction in the stack. And you can see here 2 examples of where we want to have modules that are already serving off-the-shelf skills to the robot. you can see task plot. In here, the example they use is deliver a coffee. A skill could be grasp an object with particular constraints. This is our scope, and you can adapt it to your case, but this is more or less our hint on what is the type of modules we are targeting. And that's it from my side, Marta.
Thank you very much, Francisco. So right now there is a floor for your questions. So I start with the first one. The question is, I believe, to Antonio, because it's about funding. So the question is, if the grant will be a lump sum type, is there any funding rate?
Okay, you are anticipating the open call, because this is the subject of today was more about the expression of interest, which has no funding, as I said. But yeah, in the open call, when it comes in October, you will find that, of course, the idea is that you get funding if you are selected, if these consortia are selected, and there will be a lump sum amount of 200,000 euros per consortium. Okay. The concept of a lump sum is well known, is the fact that you will need to provide this time, not now, when the open call comes, on how you will divide this amount of money between the partners, and for what. Specifically, if you need some subcontracting, if you need to spend some amounts for equipment, etc. But the total amount has to be 200,000 euros. Once you have provided this budget, and in case you are selected, you will be considered that your budget is okay, is sound, it has been considered sound and good by the evaluators. And this budget will be included in the individual mentoring plan that my colleague Francisco was talking about. This individual mentoring plan, as I said, it will include all the steps, that all the commitments, so to speak, that you will have to develop and comply with in your experiment, plus the budget. And this individual mentoring plan will be included in the Socrates agreement, in the contract you'll be signing with us. So it will be kind of a commitment, mandatory, But after that, we are not going in a lump sum. We never ask for justification after that, if you have spent more or less, etc. So now, regarding the funding rate, I know that the question comes from the fact that there are many calls where the SMEs or the for-profit entities, they receive 70% of the amount they are declaring. In this case, there is no constraint, no restriction in that matter. So the 200,000 euro will be independently if you are an SME, if you are a non-profit entity or a for-profit entity. Okay. This is it.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Another question is, I believe, to Francisco regarding the universities. The question is if universities can be only end users.
Yes, and this is particular and very specific to the goal that is funding the RISE project, because they are requesting SMEs, startups or mid-caps to be engaged in the delivery of the solutions. So this is the type of profile they are targeting to engage in the delivery. I do see technical departments and RTOs, which are quite specific to the technology, as end users, which have their demonstrator already in collaboration with a company. And well, somehow they can just collaborate with the tech provider in setting up the collaborative robotics application. And this is something that I already discussed with Antonio. It would be a plus when you apply, that you have the commitment of the company you are collaborating on to deploy this TRL7 demonstrator. And I think there is even there will be even some flexibility for subcontracting some costs to cover that effort. So that to me would be the perfect fit for a university, an innovation center, or an RTO. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I would like to add and to emphasize on what the last sentence from Francisco about this subcontracting. I know that this is not still the time to discuss about the budgets, because this is more related to the open call, but since the topic has been raised. So if you are a university or a non-profit entity, you can be perfectly an end user. There will be a constraint in the future in the open call, because if the technology provider is not an SME, is a startup or a mid-cap, then the end user has to be an SME. There has to be always an SME in the consortium, but let's suppose that you manage to form a consortium where you can fit being a university as an end user. You could also fit, or you could also be a part of the technology provider as a subcontractor. There is an amount in 200,000 euros. You have the room to subcontract a certain number of tasks. Now, the only restriction for the subcontracting is that these tasks or these tasks cannot be the core of the solution. The solution has to be the technology provider, and the technology provider would be able to subcontract some tasks that are not the core of the proposal. Okay, so this is a subject that will be discussed in webinars when we launch the open call. It's not for today. For today, please just focus on an individual application and just check if you can be an end user or a technology provider, and try to be validated so that in the end you can be, or I would say, eventually successful.
Thank you, Antonio. Another one in that topic. So there is a question if an innovation center being a part of the university is allowed to apply.
It depends on the legal establishment of this innovation center. If the innovation center, maybe the question should be rewarded, because if this center is an entity that is for profit, they can apply, perfectly. But if they are a non-profit entity, or if they are just, I don't know, if they depend on the university, then they will follow the same rules as the university. So we should understand the case better. What this innovation center is, what is the legal status of this innovation center to answer properly. I don't know if the person who made the question can provide more details on that.
Exactly. So if you can elaborate a little more in the next comment, we will get back to this issue. Another question from Daniela is that, could it be that an already validated SME who did the expression of interest successfully applies to the open call with a self-made consortium? I mean, in this case, we would have both the opportunities: apply by ourselves with our consortium and apply with a match-made consortium. How many proposals can be submitted by each participant?
You are totally free to do the most convenient for you. I mean, you can not apply now and just apply directly to the open call if you have the right partner. You can apply now and become a validated end user or technology provider, and then do, thanks to the matchmaking, apply to the open call with a full proposal together with a validated counterpartner. Or you can be validated and make your own consortium. So you are totally free. Now, how many applications in the open call? Not now. In the open call, you can apply or you can submit. You can submit as many proposals as you like. Okay, you can be in one consortium with a technology provider, in another consortium with another technology provider, addressing another challenge, whatever you like. Now, the only restriction is that only one of the proposals you are involved in could be selected. Okay, that's the only restriction.
Thank you. And another one, I believe it's to Mireia or Francisco. Should the solution be open source and released publicly at the end of the project? What if the solution includes patented code? Whose intellectual property is it at the end of the project?
I think I can take that one. The idea, as I said, is to go as far as possible with the maturity of the demonstrator, and for sure, we want applicants to remain with their IP, and not everything will not be open sourced. What we want is to have the solution compliant with the ROS2 middleware interfaces. So the solution will need to export this interfaces to ROS2. Then the ROS4HRI thing and these requirements we will prepare for the open call will need to be run on top of the solution. And the idea with the contribution in terms of open source is this robotics skills or grasping for whatever skill embedded that you decide to do, must export these ROS2 interfaces. That would be the requirement that is ready to run in open source robotics environments running ROS2. That's it. Just with having the interfaces with ROS2, you can remain with your IP.
Thank you, Francisco. Antonio, another question, I believe it is more concerning the open call phase, not expression of interest phase, but maybe you can answer. Should the proposal contain only one end user and only one technology provider?
Yes, of course. This is a question for the open call. I am anticipating it. So in the open call, there will be two possibilities, that you are an SME, and if you are an SME, that you can fulfill the two profiles, end user and tech provider, then you don't need any other partner. You can play both roles, so you will be able to apply to the open call and propose your best proposal only to yourself, because you can play both roles, okay? If not, there will be two entities applying, one as an end user, one as a technology provider. But we cannot admit more than two entities. We cannot admit three entities, for example, one end user and two technology providers. No, that's not possible. The only possibility, as I explained before, if you have another partner that you would need to, in order to make the best proposal, it would be to subcontract some of the tasks to this third partner. But the only partners, there can be only two entities conforming a consortium making the proposal. And this is one option. The other option is that one entity fulfills the two roles, and then the proposal is done by just one entity.
Thank you, Antonio. I believe it also answers the next question, which is, can an SME be both the end user and the technology provider? So it is possible that the SME apply alone.
Yes. Yes.
This is about the same issue. Okay, let me check another question.
Sorry, I can add something. If at this moment you feel that you could eventually apply alone, you have two options. Disregard this expression of interest and go directly to the open call in October. Or if you want to make sure that you or you feel more comfortable by being validated, meaning, okay, I want to be sure that I can fulfill or I can meet the role of an SME, of an user and the role of a technology provider. You could eventually apply here now as an end user in one proposal or one application and another application as a technology provider. And let's see if you are validated by the tool. That's up to you.
Thank you. And the last question that we have on the chat, I believe it goes to Francisco. Could you clarify the positioning of the testing facilities with respect to the duo, tech provider and end user?
Well, I think that this is exactly the context for Mireia. I could elaborate a bit on it, but Mireia comes from Cartif. Her team is the owner of a testing and experimentation facility. Well, she can elaborate on what they do on a daily basis, and in particular what they will do in this program for the applicants.
The idea of the testing and experimentation facilities, the implementation of the middleware for this first year in the ARISE project, but is with the learning lesson that it will be provide this end user and tech provider in the open calls, but it's a support. It's possible that the experimentation in our own facilities or question doubts, but the solution that the test find for this first year. This is a support for these learning lessons.
Just to extend a bit what Mireia is saying, bear in mind that the challenges that I have presented, they have been designed by the 4 testing and experimentation facilities we host inside the ARISE project. And during this year, they are just executing what could be a successful proposal in the open calls. So they are deploying the middleware technology, they are designing the collaborative robotics applications, they are building the module in their testing facility. So in the end, those that result winning proposals from our open call will have 4 testing experimentation facilities which have faced the problems, the learning curves to make use and leverage our tools as a project, and the pool of mentors that ARISE will put at the disposal of the applicants will come not only from the ARISE technology providers, but also from the technical experts in the testing and experimentation facilities. So it is in the end the supportive team that will co-create the solution with you during the project execution.
Thank you very much. You can still ask a question if you have, please write it on chat. And in the meantime, on the chat, you can see that I send you 2 links. The first one is to the next webinar. I am very happy to invite you to the next one. We will try to adapt it, the content of the webinar, to the questions that will appear the most frequently on our help desk. So if you think you might use our other webinar, please, you can register even today. Of course, you will receive this link also in the communication that comes to you after this webinar, only for those that gave consent to be contacted, of course. If not, please observe our social media, ARISE website. All the information will be there. And the other link that I just sent you is to our help desk. So as Antonio already said during his part of the presentation, you can join our help desk on Discord channel, and there all our experts from the whole consortia will be there to answer your questions. To join this help desk, please use the instruction that is on our microsite of the expression of interest. I don't see any more questions. I don't know if any of the speakers has anything to add here. Not really, I see.
Not really from my side, but yes, just I would invite everyone with their doubts and questions to participate in the help desk and just share their questions with us so that we can all make the program better. Just your questions are the key drivers to our next steps. That will be all. Thank you.
Okay. From my side, but I invite to join this assistant this webinar to in Discord channel to ask about these processes, expression of interest processes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mireia. Okay, thank you very much. I will stop the recording right now.